Welcome to another podcast, and today I want to talk a little bit about what a lot of you wonder about, and that is some of the inner workings of being a newspaper reporter. I'll be honest with you, the last 7 or 8 days have not been fun because of all the stories that have been breaking about Billy Donovan all over the place. We've had media from all over in terms of .coms and everything, but eventually I ended up getting the first interview with Billy Donovan on Thursday morning, the day that he had his press conference, and I tell you, it was crazy. The one thing that kept happening was I could not get through to Billy, no matter how many times I called. Cell phone was full. His voicemail was full. I kind of had to go through other people to get messages to him. It was wild, but Billy had to sequester himself. He could not be involved in any discussions with the media while he was trying to get out of this Magic contract. Well, finally, Billy knew that, because we've had a long relationship for 11 years. In fact, I never forget the first day that he came here and took the job, and he and I went to lunch at Bennigan's. And I told him, this will never be a basketball school, Billy. He's reminded me of that a few times. But finally, Billy called me because he knew that this was driving me crazy. And we talked a little bit. And he said, look, I'll let you know what's going on Wednesday night. He let me know when it was finally done. But he couldn't talk. He had a lot of things to do in terms of talking to recruits and their families. Well, I wasn't happy because he had promised me we would. This morning, though, give Billy credit, gave me a call early in the morning. And we talked for about an hour about exactly what happened. So you could read that on Gatorsports.com. And that's the key. This isn't about me, and it's about giving you guys the first look at what exactly was going on, because you had so many questions. And I know you did, because you kept stopping me and asking them. And I couldn't give you the answers. Well, we were able to give you the answers on Thursday morning when Billy Donovan finally gave us the first interview. He, of course, then had his press conference. I think one of the more interesting things, I asked him directly, because I had a lot of you stop and say, hey, his wife is the reason this has happened. Did you see those pictures of her in the paper? Well, they were excellent pictures, as they always are in the Gainesville Sun. But he said that had nothing to do with it. She was just sad she was leaving Gainesville. It had nothing to do with his decision. That he drove home, was feeling terrible, the next morning realized he'd made a mistake. I think one of the more interesting things, is just a tidbit, was that it wasn't Billy Donovan, as has been reported on many of the .coms, who called Jeremy Foley and said, hey, I'm having second thoughts. It was Christine. Billy was still trying to get a hold of Magic. He said, you better call Jeremy and let him know what's going on. So those are some of the things you'll read if you look at that story. It was fun to finally have something, because it's been so crazy in terms of trying to break stories and in terms of trying to find out what was going on. It's finally great to put this thing to bed. And guess what? Billy Donovan will be the coach of the Florida Gators probably as long as I will. It's like I told him this morning. You and I are stuck together for a while. And hey, he's a pretty good guy to be stuck with. That's going to do it. I'll see you next time. This is Pat Dooley, sports columnist of the Gainesville Sun.